So in today's episode of Welcome to North Korea, we're going to be talking about Donald Trump's new smartphone. That's right, his family is going to now launch Trump Mobile. And I'm sitting over here still trying to figure out how it was that Jimmy Carter had to give up his peanut farm, but yet Trump and his family can just start up all these new ventures and just milk and grift and sell crappy merch to everybody, and it's perfectly okay. No one ever calls it out or tries to point it out unless it's one of us. You know, we try to point it out every day. But MAGA just goes along with this, follows it hook, line, and sinker, and believes it, and now they can't wait to get their new smartphone, which they're being told that these phones are going to be made right here in the United States. But experts have already agreed that that's pretty much damn near impossible. These phones will be made in China right alongside the rest of his shitty merch. And so I'm going to play you a clip right here of Eric Trump talking about Trump Mobile. And there is so much to unpack in this clip, because this clip from start to finish is just one big walking contradiction, but I wouldn't expect anything less from Eric Trump. Roll the clip.
This morning, you've got an announcement on a new phone. Tell me about that and what you're looking to, quote unquote, correct here.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Maria, more and more we're using technology as a company, right, to correct the problems. Obviously, Truth Social was to correct freedom of speech, right? I mean, he lost his throughout the political process. Obviously, crypto, and we've got the biggest projects in crypto, was to correct another problem, which is the fact that they were debanking all conservatives. I was the most canceled person probably in the history of the country. And now we're doing Trump Mobile, and Trump Mobile is going to revolutionize cell phones, mobile calling. We're going to do it better. We're going to do it safer. We're going to have more functionality, more features. And the coolest thing about all these ventures is we're doing it right here in the United States. You're not calling up call centers in Bangladesh. You're not, you're doing it right out of St. Louis, Missouri, and you're going to have phones that are made right here in the United States of America, and it's going to be cheaper, $47 a month. You're going to have more international dialing for free, hundreds of countries, international dialing for free. It is the biggest bang for the buck, and we're really excited to get into the space. I mean, when you take kind of technology, obviously real estate's always been our bread and butter, but when you take the technology world between the social platforms, the actual hard devices, which is really what Trump Mobile is, and then kind of the true retail banking, CeFi, DeFi, worlds of cryptocurrency, which is no question where the world is going. I really believe we're going to have one of the great kind of tech platforms as part of the Trump organization of any company in the world, and I couldn't be more proud of Trump Mobile.
I love how they always try to paint themselves like they're the biggest victims in the story. They've been censored more than anybody. Their free speech has been taken away, and they have to come out and they have to create these things to restore free speech. Donald Trump didn't build Truth Social to restore free speech. He went to it because he got barred from Twitter for inciting a riot on the nation's capital and for spreading lies and conspiracy theories. That's why these people have been banned from platforms in the past, is because they violated the community guidelines on said platform. That's why they got banned, not because they were out here, trying to protect free speech. The Republican Party used to be all about pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and all about taking accountability and responsibility. And these days, they're nothing more than the party of victimhood, always crying, always bitching and moaning that somehow they've been persecuted and they're out to protect free speech. And I guess we're supposed to be dumb enough to believe that this new phone is going to somehow protect free speech. Again, I say this almost in every video, but I don't care what your political affiliations are. You just got to sometimes stop and ask yourself when things are starting to get weird. That's what I've been pointing out for a long time is, folks, this stuff is not normal. This is weird. We should call it out as such. So regardless of your political leanings, whether you're Republican, Democrat, progressive, conservative, or somewhere in the middle, no matter where you're at, I just think it's extremely odd that people would be perfectly okay with having a president create his own phone, and they would be okay talking on a phone that was designed specifically for him and to fit his agenda and to fit his needs. If you want to talk about stepping inside of an echo chamber, that would absolutely be stepping inside of an echo chamber. I would not want to be on a network or on a phone that was controlled by the president and his family. I wouldn't want all of the information that I was seeing to be filtered through the president and what he felt was appropriate for me to see. That is straight up North Korean shit. And we sit here day in and day out and call it out as such, but we keep getting told we're hyperbolic. And then I sit there and I read the comments on No King's Day. I read all of the comments on that day, and I look around. And, you know, where I'm from, there was a lot of local law enforcement that came out and had to make the post about, hey, if you all protest, if you get violent, we're going to lock you up. You're going to pay the price if you get violent. So many people wanted to flex on that day. But in the comments, I just kept seeing people saying things like, you know, of course they were saying, well, what are they protesting for? What's wrong? Why is anyone upset? They said that a whole lot. But the other thing I kept seeing was, I would rather have Trump as a king. I saw this comment more than once. I would rather have Trump as my king than a Democrat as a president. And that's why I say so many times the mainstream media has absolutely let us down. Have you ever stepped outside and felt like you were instantly drenched in sweat? Folks, I live here in Tennessee, and trust me, I know all about the heat and humidity. I cannot count the times that I've stepped outside at 7 o'clock in the morning to do my work, and by 7:15, I'm standing there drenched. Recently, I switched to Mando, and now I no longer have those problems. But if you've been struggling with the heat and humidity like I have, then I have some great news. Mando has just launched something that takes sweat control to the next level. Introducing Mando Deodorant Plus Sweat Control Solid Stick. It's double protection. Finally, you get the odor control you love with Mando, plus powerful sweat control. Mando Starter Pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code. Use code Brando at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. Shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Mando's got you covered with deodorant plus sweat control. Say goodbye to sweat stains and hello to long-lasting freshness. Again, use code Brando at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. Go to shopmando.com and tell them Brando sent you. Because when they sit back and they sane wash and they normalize Donald Trump, it leads people to make comments like that. When they see someone like Trump go on all these bro podcasts like Joe Rogan, The Undertaker, Theo Von, sit down with those people, have conversations, and then you have the mainstream media out there saying, oh, today Trump sat down with podcaster, instead of saying Trump sat down with a white supremacist who sniffed his seat when he stood up. Remember the kid? I don't remember his name. Don't care to remember his name, and I'm sorry to bring him back up, but remember that kid that sat and picked his nose and sniffed people's seats and done all this ridiculous shit? They made that out like it was normal when Trump sat down with him. They thought that was cool. They made that out to be normal. And so when you do that, you pave the way. The mainstream media, whether they're Fox News or any of them, any mainstream source out there, they paved the way for Donald Trump to do everything that he's doing. And to the people out there that's now saying, well, this ain't what I voted for. Yeah, this is what you voted for. Apparently, we paid more attention to him than you did, and that's truly sad. You know, I really thought that if they loved him so much, they would be hanging on every word, but apparently they missed a whole bunch of meetings. And they're going to miss even more meetings if they decide to jump on Trump Mobile and just listen to everything that he tells them to say. I don't care where you land on the political spectrum. That's not normal. It should never be normal, and I would never want to be on a network that was controlled by the guy that I voted for. That's absolute insanity. It truly is insanity, and we're truly living in insane times, and every time I see this stuff, I just say to myself, when will there ever be a bridge too far? When will people ever start to wake up? But I truly don't think a lot of them are going to wake up because they feel like they're fighting for something. They feel like that they're vigilantes. They feel like that they're out here winning these culture wars and they're owning the libs. When in reality, they're the ones that are owned lock, stock, and barrel. Trump absolutely owns them. Every day we sit back and watch him own them and watch him play them to his advantage. And what better way than to create, first of all, he's got his own social media platform, now comes up with his own Trump Mobile, and everybody just connect to that, and I'll keep you safe. And that's another thing about this. They truly do believe that Donald Trump is the guy that's keeping them safe from all of the straw men that he's built up of progressives and liberals. A progressive and a liberal, when we start a conversation, before we could even really get into the weeds and have a healthy debate with somebody, we first have to sit and defend ourselves and say, no, we're not all the things you're painting us as. No, we're not sick in the head. No, we're not twisted. No, we're not the enemy from within. No, we shouldn't be rooted out like vermin. No, there's not litter boxes in classrooms. We always have to start. No, children aren't going to school and getting surgeries and coming home, leaving as a little boy and coming home as a little girl. Those things aren't happening. We always have to start right there and defend ourselves from all the lies, conspiracy theories, and bullshit that gets pumped out constantly before we can even sit down and have a reasonable conversation. And that's what makes this so frustrating, doing it day in and day out, is you just have people coming back at you constantly who have sat and listened to the other side demonize and vilify you to no end. And then you're supposed to pick up. That's why a lot of times I'm not going to sit down and debate these people that's going to sniff my seat when I stand up. I'm not going to give them the credibility or the time of day. Will I have healthy discussions with people who disagree with me? Yes, I will, and I do it all the time. Okay? I have friends of mine, close friends of mine, who we have strong disagreements about certain things. We can sit, we can have conversations about those things, and we can disagree, and we can walk away. But I'm never going to sit down and entertain these type of people who thinks the white race is superior and who thinks we never landed on the moon and that the earth is flat. You know, that's because I'm not going to start over here and try to defend myself against someone who buys in to that style of bullshit rhetoric. And that's what it is, bullshit rhetoric. The idea that these people will be lined up to get their phone and excited to get their phone and they'll feel safe and protected. Well, all I can say is they're just people that needed a hero. And a lot of times people do need a hero and they wind up at Jonestown. And 900 of them winds up laying in a field drunk on the Kool-Aid. Or they wind up with David Koresh burned alive. Or they put on a pair of Nikes and just do it. That was a 90s reference, by the way. But we're here, folks, unfortunately, and we're going to be here for a long time, shouting this down. You know, the other day I caught myself saying, just for a brief minute, I was like, you know, when Marjorie Taylor Greene said that about the national divorce, we all just go our separate ways, I almost started to entertain it for a minute. Because it just gets so tiresome combating this shit. I'll tell you what, just let them have their phone, let them have their own little island somewhere. Just let them all go away and let the rest of us get back to business at hand. Let reasonable people get back to working on the issues at hand and let them go over here and just self-destruct, I guess. I don't know, folks. I really don't have the answers anymore. I don't think I ever did. I'm just sitting here, a hillbilly in East Tennessee, trying my damnedest to figure it out. But I will be damned if I ever hook up to a Trump phone and take his word for it.